Paul. Joining me now with reaction to all of this as the story develops. Jay Sekulow from the American Center for Law and Justice, as well as former White House special counsel. He was there during all of the Clinton impeachment, telling me that what the meaning of the word is Lanny Davis. Welcome back, both of you. Good to see you.
Hi, Sean.
Hey, thanks, Sean.
All right, let me just give an explanation. One of the things where Herman, I think, got in trouble in the beginning was he said, oh, there was no settlement. But he told me today there wasn't a settlement. There was a severance. And he said that's a distinction. Here's what he said.
It was a severance agreement. Severance agreements are usually confidential. It was a severance agreement because she was leaving the association, not some sort of legal settlement, because it was found to be baseless after it was evaluated, and her attorney talked to our attorney and all that kind of stuff. That's why it was a severance agreement.
What do you think, Jay?
Well, I think, number one, no complaint was filed with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. It was handled through the HR offices. These cases are typically, I mean, unfortunately, anybody can make an allegation, and an anonymous allegation to a presidential candidate is kind of, unfortunately, par for the course right now. But I think what is significant here is the fact that there has been no formal charges, there was no lawsuit filed, no complaint with the EEOC, and the company made a decision, whether it's called here a severance agreement, to work out a severance package for this employee who was basically at that point a disgruntled employee. To turn that into literally a federal case when no case has been filed is a mistake. And I think that what's happening with the media on this is they are creating a frenzy. It's almost like something we haven't seen in a long time, and Lanny knows this better than anybody. This is exciting TV and radio for a lot of people, but the fact of the matter is an anonymous source is coming forward. And interestingly, her lawyer today said she will not be disclosed. He will be her spokesman. That's like you're boxing at the wind. And I think that's unfair, and I think Herman Cain's best approach right now is to continue campaigning and not responding to anonymous complaints here.
Lanny, you actually did a very good job defending Bill Clinton during very difficult times. You wrote a book after that. Tell it all, tell the truth, tell it early, tell it yourself. And you actually wrote a pretty good column today. I know I can't believe those words came out of my mouth, but you offered some advice to Herman. And I thought you were sincere in your advice.
Well, first of all, I feel some sympathy for Mr. Cain, and I do agree that piling on with a presumption of guilt from anonymous sources is fundamentally unfair. The way to handle that, though, is not to accuse or duck or weave, but if Mr. Cain genuinely believes that he didn't do anything wrong, and he holds a press conference and says to everyone, this is what I think I did didn't mean to be offensive, I think it was a severance, I didn't admit to anything, and answers the who, what, where, when, and why, and apologizes for offending somebody that he didn't mean to offend, this story would have been over in 24 hours.
I had Herman on for a full hour today, and I pushed him on the issue. Is there anything that could have been misconstrued? Did you flirt with her? Did you say she looked good? Here's how that conversation went down.
Is there anything that you can think of that might have been misconstrued? You talked about somebody's height. Did you tell a woman she looked good, that dress looks hot?
Nope.
Anything, any flirtation that you can think of?
Nope, I didn't, Sean, and let me tell you why. Because being in business, I learned a long time ago that unless I am really, really comfortable with the fellow employee, I don't pay women compliments unless I know them well enough that they're not going to take it the wrong way. I know with this particular case, I didn't make those kind of compliments. I didn't say that she looked hot or whatever and this sort of thing. Why? Because when you're in a leadership position, you run the risk of it being misunderstood.
I don't think he can be any more adamant, Jay.
No, but here's where I think Lanny and I are in agreement here because we're both defense lawyers in a sense here. Here's the thing you've got to watch, though. You've got to be very specific, and look, I think this is an ambush situation. And what Herman Cain needs to do, though, is simply repeat in a very calm, cool, and collected manner, that he did not do anything inappropriate, and if someone took something as inappropriate, he certainly would never have meant it that way. And here's the point. He's fighting right now. He is literally boxing at the wind. He's got an anonymous source, Sean, that can say anything, and what he needs to do, what Herman Cain needs to do, is end this problem right now, because if this keeps going day after day after day, there could be 50, well, there could be 50 anonymous sources. So what Lanny's book says is right. You've got to respond quickly and be very definitive. No wiggle room. Say, not only did I not do it, if for some reason somebody misconstrued something, that certainly wasn't my intent, but I did nothing that I viewed as inappropriate. Lanny, and that would be the end of the story.
Lanny, it seems like I was trying to close every window here. Any flirtation, any comments about looks or height or this or that. No, 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 no. And then I went through the process of asking about every other woman that has now said that he might have, again, anonymous sources, no specifics. And I think the term Jay is using here is right. He's punching at the wind here. But he keeps saying, no, I don't do that. That's not who I am. What else can he say?
Well, Jay and I are really right on the same wavelength here. I'm not judging this man having done anything wrong because I don't know. It's anonymous charges. And I think he's allowed and should be presumed to be innocent. But to deal as a presidential candidate with this crisis, my advice to him is, Mr. Cain, call a press conference, bring everybody together. All bets are off on confidentiality. Forget that. As a lawyer, I would advise you that you are not held to confidentiality when you're attacked.
I asked him that. He did not sign a confidentiality
Therefore,
agreement.
he should say who, what, when, where, all the details, and then say, if I offended this woman, I apologize. And this story would be over.
Until she speaks, until the media finds somebody else that says it, until, you know what's amazing about this? I said this last night, and I know it's going to drive you nuts, Lanny. They asked Barack Obama once about Bill Ayers. A guy in the neighborhood. Started his career in the guy's house, gave speeches, sat on boards with him. Do you think there's a double standard here in the media, Lanny?
Well, I think on this program he was asked a lot of questions.
No. He didn't have the courage to come on
he got a lot of
Hannity
criticism.
Show.
Well, he had a lot of criticism about Bill Ayers from people like yourself.
One question. That's the difference. Herman Cain is answering questions. And he's trying
my advice to anyone, whether it's President Obama or certainly in the case of Mr.
I agree.
Cain,
President Obama should hold a press conference on Ayers.
Well, he answered plenty of questions about Ayers, but Mr. Cain is running for president.
But there's no doubt there's a double standard. I mean, there's a double standard, but you know what? That double standard right now doesn't help Herman Cain. What helps Herman Cain is tomorrow morning, call a press conference, say exactly what Lanny and I have been talking about, and then, Sean, you know what happens? If the 5th person or 10th person comes out, at that point, it doesn't matter. He's already made his statement, and he should be back to campaign. He should make the statement and be back in the campaign 15 minutes later and get on this topic, because no one's talking about 999. Everybody's talking about this. So he needs to make that definitive statement, get it over with.
Guys, thanks for being with us. Sean. I can't believe Jay Sekulow and Lanny Davis agree. We've made history on this program.
There you go.
Good to see you.